Okay, welcome guys. I don't know, in case if you're unable to see it, please, maybe you try turning off your internet and you get back. So what is it that we have done previously? So we looked into some calculator app. Yes. Okay, we saw some calculator app. Okay, and then that was what we saw. Okay, and now we just ended up making this unresizable. Okay, so by using this other method which is called resizable, and we said fine, initially it was none. Okay, but that none says it is false. Okay, so false is none, and then like that. Okay, so fine. So this is it, and then what is it that we want to do? We tried now to look into this scientific calculator. Okay, so we just ran it now, and we try to compare with whatever we have here. Okay, so if you see, this has a standard screen, and if you maximize, this stretches out. Okay, so this stretches out. So we will do this, but for now we want to look at some stuff, standard and scientific. So scientific, something comes up here, so we may not be able to imitate everything here. Okay, so we take some stuff. Okay, and then what do we know? Actually, that by default you get this 0 digit there. Fine. So for now we try to make it the same width as this, and we don't want it to be resizable. Okay, so it's not up to that, but still. Okay, and you see this, they have this icon here, is called calculator. So I think I should also change it and call it calculator, and then we try keeping menu. Okay, so maybe change this background to be some color, okay, instead of black, and that's it. Now you see, if you perform some operations, you say times 3 or something like that, you get some value, and this value is in floating point. Whereas if you've checked here, Ctrl Shift F10, let's keep all of them. So keep this guy, keep that guy, keep this guy. So you notice here, okay, if I say 98 into 3, I will get something, and this is in integer, so this is not what I wanted, right? So I will clear this, and if I say 23 into maybe like 3, I'll get what, 60 whatever. Oh sorry, 32 into maybe plus 6, I should get 38. But if I do the same thing here, I'll say 32 plus 6, fine. Okay, I'll get 38.0, fine. All right, so let me do the same thing here. I say 32 plus 6, I'm getting something, 38. So I think this is better, right? Instead of saying everything in float, okay, converting everything in float. But just to be on the safer side, here if I say 5 upon 4, I'll get 1.25, correct. So if I do the same thing here, 5 upon 4, I get 1.25. So this is right. So 5 upon 4, I get 1.25. Okay, so no problem. So better I leave it in this way. So in this case, this is actually better. Fine. All right. So having said that, now let's continue. Okay, so our aim is to get to this app. Maybe I'll keep it open. Yeah, leave the 3 open actually. Ctrl Shift F10, the basic one is up there. Then the scientific one, Ctrl Shift F10 is there. Okay, and then the one which we are going to build. So to reach here, there'll be a couple of things which we have to do. Okay, all right, so for that I'm going to start afresh. Okay, so starting afresh, I'm going to remove some of the methods and things like that. We'll get back to it as we proceed. Okay, so delete the entire thing actually. Okay, so basic thing we know, fine, entire thing deleted. So you know what you do. You need icons, right? So Window D, go down to this week. I call this scientific calculator. Let me keep it here for clarity's sake. So if you come here, you will see I got some what? I have some icon, and I have shown you how to download this, right? So this icon, I will need to refer it. So it's in the same location. So I'll minimize now. In case if you don't know how to do, you just go back there. So you see here, you just Google it, download what here. Okay, free ICO files, download, and that's it. Fine. So once you come back here, you know where to get the stuff. So I was looking for icon like this, or you go back, you choose any one of your choice, and make sure it is .ico file. So I needed a calculator icon, so I typed, instead of this, I just type calculator.ico. And again, you are free to customize yours also. Okay, so oh my goodness, let's use this then. Wow, this makes sense. Yeah, okay, why didn't I see this before? Okay, so let me choose this one. Fine. So I'm going to download this now, and I need a details.ico file. So this is downloaded and it to be inside my stuff. So I'm going to copy this guy. Okay, I will maybe fine copy it, go down to my desktop, paste it there. Now I have to rename it as, now this is called calculator, so I'll call it CALC. Okay, rename, I'll call it calc.ico, no problem, fine. So I say it is called calc.ico, fine. So this is now what I want to use to replace this guy. So this is done. So what do we do next? So we start by doing what now? Creating the necessary whatever. Okay, so we break them into steps. So the step 1 says what? Import the model, right? Import necessary models. What was that called? Import tkinter. Okay, what message box. We need the message box. You can see it there. We use file dialog box, right, the other time. Okay, and you can actually choose color. You can use also color chooser and all whatnot. And you see this is our global kind of function. Okay, so we can refer it like this. Okay, now and then you see there. So we don't need to kind of re-implement that. So anyway, this is fine. I need the message box. Okay, fine. Now step 1 is done. So let's look at step 2. So for now, nothing will happen. Obviously, you know that. So in step 2, what are we doing in step 2? Step 2 says we need to do what now? We have to create the geometry window, right? So the geometry window or the geo window. Fine. So what we do? Window. Fine. So this is fine. And then you know what we do, right? We create the object of that and we say, okay, fine. It's actually a tkinter class. Fine. And then we have the references using root. Fine. So what do we need to do now? We set the title. Dot title. Title. So let's call it calculator only. Fine. sci-fi. Calculator. No problem. Okay. Calculator. Fine. Anything you can call. Okay. And then we needed to set the background. If you watch clearly, you see here the background has some color. So this is actually a background color, right, which is like white. So if you go back here also, let me now close this guy. You will see, sorry, here, Control, okay, Shift F10. So we actually have a background color here, like in between, not this display color. This display color, we change it to black, but you see, you can see here like some, foreground color, background color, right? When I click on this button. So this is foreground color is black, background color is white, okay? But in this case, like I made everything white, okay? Fine. So this is what we want to mimic, and then we go back here, we say, okay, fine, root dot what? Configure is what we need now. In this case, what do we want to pass in that? We say background, okay? Back, ground. So the background, we call it what? White. So there are two approaches to using white. You can say hash ffffff. I think this is it. Okay. So then after this, or you just say 0, no problem. Oh, sorry, white. You type white in full. So this is 568, I think, is what I used. So I better copy it from here. So there will be lots of drag and copy pasting here, okay, because we don't want to waste time, okay. And then so I'll copy it here, Control C. Now you know what we are doing, okay. Come back here and just paste that back. Fine. So this sets it, the width and whatever, okay, the height of that. And then now what does this frame do actually? So this is like a container. So I'll just add some comments here. So this is like a container, okay. As we already know, they are like widgets, right? So this was like a container for all the numbers and operators, okay? For all operators, for all operators and numbers, okay? And numbers, fine. So after this is done now, and we needed this grid, okay? So now this grid, we will kind of use it like a pattern to place all the buttons, okay? So we use this mostly, okay? So here, you remember, it will not be different from when we go back and say, okay, yes, Neharika is saying it's too dark. Don't worry, you play with it, okay? You play with it and then you change it. So thank you so much. If the background is too dark, fine, you play with it and change it. No worries, that will be part of your assignment, okay? So, and then we have this grid to place the buttons, okay? So finally, when we run this, obviously, it will come and it will disappear. You see there, it came and it disappeared. We didn't see anything. That's because we have not used we have not set it open, okay? So we go back and say root dot what main loop. So let it be there, sorry. So see, I implemented the main already. So this is not what I wanted. So I wanted this root dot. So be careful with the IntelliSense, okay? Main loop, fine. Otherwise, you end up getting something different. So this is all we've done, okay? And we've placed this thing there, and we've seen this called scientific calculator. So far we've been able to just achieve a little thing here, okay? So same width, fine. Okay, yes, when we start adding it, it will expand, okay? So it looks like it's the same for now. So this is it, and let's continue, okay? So this is done. Step 2 is done. Agreed? Fine. Step 1, step 2. So let's go to step 3. Remember, this is the last step. I don't know how many steps it will be. We call it the last step only. Okay? So we move to step 3 now. Step 3 says do something, which I also don't know. Okay. So we want to use object-oriented programming. So let's use this, okay? So what are we doing in this case? We use the concept of class, okay? Class. So in this case now, we want to kind of declare a class that will hold all the functions, right? You got the point? So, and in this, that is where our init method comes in handy. So what is this going to do? So please listen, okay? This class, as we know, like, you know, we have to take some value, say, when we want to say find the sum of a number, find the difference, check if a function is valid, check operation, clear the screen, you know, do some mathematical operations. So what exactly am I telling you? If you look here, okay, so in this one, let's go to scientific calculator now. So you see there are lots of operations here, right? So instead of us, yeah, sure, I will change it to white, don't worry, I will change it to white. So definitely, but I'm sure you're able to see it, okay? Don't worry, I just want you to kind of see. I don't want to mix with so many colors, okay? I will change it, no worries. So for now, I want you to see here, like this is better, right? This white one is better, but don't worry. If you are asked to replicate this project, okay, that is the M. Say, I want you to replicate the project entirely. Then we go and change the colors, no worries. So for now, okay, that is text display color, no problem. So for now, I needed functions that will be able to handle all this stuff, okay? So I better encapsulate it, right? So the function will be like I'm binding, it's called like data hiding, right? Where I'm encapsulating everything together. So it's going to be lengthy, and I will not waste time typing all these things. Hence, maybe the tutorial will span for like 4 or 5 days or so. So we go back here. So till here is fine, okay? So now this is the method, okay, which I really wanted to copy, okay? So the class, okay, and then all the method. So what I will do, I will use the keyword class, and inside here I have all the methods, right? So in case if you've forgotten, what we always do in encapsulation is think of it as a capsule, right? So 1 minute. So I'm going to open something here. Open this, and it's called not 50 days of Java, 50 days of this, and we got this, fine. So what we know for sure is if you come back, okay, where is it? 1 minute, guys. So if you get back to capsule, is a tablet. Think of it as a capsule. Inside this capsule, we have 2 things. Okay, let's say I'll divide this capsule into this. So this capsule is called a class. This class is the capsule, right? So inside the capsule, what do we have? We have the methods. Okay, so in this method, we have, say, add, we have subtract, okay, and or whatnot. And inside that also, we also have what? Say, maybe we also have sub-methods, and we also have what? Some data types also that are bound to this. So we can also have some data types also that are bound to this, okay? So that this concept now aids us to implement abstraction, right? Fine. Or we hide this data, fine? So that is what we want to use in this case. So we go back here now, okay? And then we say, okay, fine. I'm going to copy all this. So I start from here. I'll copy till there. I'll paste it, and then we explain, okay? Now till here, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, last one. Okay, and still going on, so you can imagine it will take time to type all these things. Okay, and then log, and even log 10 also, fine. Okay, so Control C, now get back here. So you see here, okay, if you paste this now, obviously nothing will happen, but we are getting an error message. Okay, so now let's go back and explain few functions. Okay, so we have wrapped it inside the class, no problem. So the init method says fine. Initially, right, you remember we are going to do evaluate, eval method, which we actually use, right? So eval is what we use when we build this simple calculator, right? Where we wanted, say, in the text display, right? So if you go back here, where is that? Here, okay? It is a string type, okay? And we are using eval, and then we actually perform the operation. So what we can actually do is whatever is inside this operator, right? We can actually typecast it to float, no problem. So this was what we did, and here there was no concept of class. Simply we just use what? Methods, fine? So because of that, now we are actually looking into this, fine? And then we go back to the beginning. You know what is pi, right? So pi is a value, is a constant, which says what? 3.142. So actually it's going to remove this, okay? We want to insert from beginning, insert a value, okay? This we delete, okay, from here to whatever is in the end. Now check if a function is valid, right? If I'm performing this operation, add, if it is valid, I'm performing addition, okay? If it is valid, I'm performing subtraction, right? So we use shorthand operator here, okay? So you know that if it's multiplication, I'm performing it here. Division, I'm performing it here. Modulus is what you want to appear on the screen. Otherwise, you leave it as percentage sign also. You got the point? What I mean by this. But instead of you to get confused, let's call it mod, which is what remained after division. Fine. And then finally the total. Okay, so these are the operations. Okay, so check all the stuff and things like that. Then clear entry. Okay, reset the value to initial what? 0. Fine. And that's why we want this, whatever, when we started this, we want 0 to be there by default. So even if I call this clear function, I want 0 to be there by default. Fine. So this is fine. And then till here, okay, all clear, even entry also is the same thing. Okay, so this display we clear the current display, but this clear, or like I finish performing operation, I want to clear everything. Reset back the total to what? 0. So pi we know. So we know pi is a constant, so we reference it using math.pi. Fine. And put it there in the display. Now this is exponentiation. So and then I really needed to maybe like get the square of a number. Fine. A square root of a number. Okay, so math.square root. Fine. Then cos of that, so you implement that cos. Then cos, okay, I think cos inverse of that. Fine. Okay, then we get that. And then tan also, and this time we give us in radian. Fine. So usually tan is declared in radian. Okay, by default is, I think it's in radian actually. Okay, so you can actually change to degrees. Fine. And then we look at tan h, and then like that in radian, and then we are using floats. Okay, so that's why, like, if you see this, but this text display is still not defined. Okay, so till here is fine, here is fine. All the methods that we need is encapsulated inside this class. Fine. Degrees, log, and all whatnot. And the good thing is, like, okay, actually I copied even till, oh sorry, I'm explaining the wrong one. Sorry, please. Sorry. So this is fine. Yeah, till here, this is what I was trying to tell you, that this text display we need to add it, because if you look here now, if I just say, okay, fine, run this, this was what I added. Okay, so if I run till here, okay, we are going to get an error that, okay, okay, fine, but where is the display? So run this, Control Shift F10. Where is the display? Nothing is there, right? So let's bring up this display. Okay, so we will say, okay, fine, the display has to be something else. Okay, so I think this can be coded here and there. So it is called text display. Fine. So we call txt. Okay, display, no problem. So this display is fine. Okay, and then where I want it to go is kind of an entry widget, right? So entry, so it's there. So here, where is it going? Now remember here, initially we said root, right, and stuff, but we have actually created this instance, right? A kind of our global reference as calc, right? So here, so now we cannot use root. Now we have to pass it into calculator objects. Okay, so we say reference, inside that we say CLC. Okay, calc. Okay, this is available here. And then we have to use the fonts, and some fonts we actually use there. So now we know these fonts, we can put the fonts type, font color, font face, and stuff like that. And we used vertical for that. And then we said, okay, fine, it is size of 20. And then what else? Though it is bold. So we are okay with this, right? So if that is bold, and then next thing we used was background. Okay, so here you said I should change it. Okay, background equal. So can I call it now? Okay, white. Okay, fine. So let me just say white. Okay, but anyway, nothing will appear if it is white. Okay, so now if I say background equal white, actually I should separate it, please. Let's take some color. I'll call it cyan. Okay, because I wanted the foreground colors, I want that effect to appear, right? So we say FG, foreground color should be equal to now sorry, background obviously should be white. I'll keep the background as white. Okay, and then maybe foreground color. Okay, foreground color should now be like maybe black or something like that. Okay, so now this is fine. Okay, or better I use here as white. It should appear. Let's see, let's do away with black. Okay, so then finally we had the border, and it was kind of 30, and then we had what again? The width. Okay, so it was 28. I can actually break this. Okay, so break it from here so that you can see it. So after the width, then we wanted it to be right justified. Say justify equal what? Right, and you have to make it like capital letter. Okay, so it's a constant, as you can see there in tkinter here. Tkinter constant. Fine. So after this now, we need to position it, right? So where do you want it to be? So you can actually say dot whatever. So txt display dot grid now, right? So grid, it has to go into what? Row is 0. We want to start from here. Row 0. Then column will be what? 0. Now column is what? 0. And then what else we need? So we want it to correspond. We have seen that, right? So we wanted this guy to correspond to 4. Why? If you look at this, you see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Fine. So where are we? Actually, go back here. So we say correspond. Actually, it's not called correspond. Actually, it's called column span, right? Column span span equal 4. Okay. Okay, so if this is fine, then I will go back here. I'll say, okay, fine. Initially, Control Shift F10. So you see, okay, see the color which we ended up getting? It looks funny, right, guys? So that's why I thought, fine, this one will make sense. Okay, so let's, if you like this, fine, we leave it like this. Okay, so I use cyan and white. Wow. So you see, cyan and white is not making sense, guys. So maybe cyan and black will make sense. Okay, you got the point. So because of this, let's go and choose another color. So I call it color Pellet picker or something like that. So let's take something that will look a little okay, maybe this is what I wanted as the background. So the hexadecimal code is this. Fine. So I copied that. I'll come back here, and then I wanted the background color to be this guy. Fine. Control Shift F10. Okay, so I think this makes sense now. All right, so if you cannot see this, you can now change your foreground color to be black. We can't help it. BLACK. Okay, so this is fine. So let's leave this now. Sorry, I got up. So let's leave this for now. Okay, so now you see it's not resizable. So till here we have achieved this guy. Okay, so this is fine. And now if you notice one thing here, by default when this starts, right, I want 0 to be there. I don't want this color, this cursor to be there. Okay, don't worry, guys, don't leave now. Okay, I'm going to copy paste some codes, but I want you to understand how things are being populated. So fine, these functions obviously we do nothing because we have not called them. Agreed. So this is fine. What we're going to do next is we really need to now insert that 0, right? So we say txt display, okay, dot insert method. Fine, insert again. This is into the entry. Fine. So what do we want to do now? We want to, at the beginning position, we want to insert 0. Fine. So Control Shift F10. Okay. Now you see that 0 is inserted. Okay. So that's why how this 0 came to be. So this is done. So what we do now, the next we have to copy paste, and there will be a way to programmatically assign these grids. So if you look at the previous one, the calculator app, what did we do? We positioned these buttons, right? So this looks funny, okay? So in between we have to be adding and padding and adding and padding and be calling the stuff. So fine, there will be another way, okay? So we now need to create now the next step. Okay, this is done till here is done. We added this. So that's step what now? Step 4 is done, right? So step 4 was these guys, okay? Step 1, sorry, I'm looking at this guy, okay? So this is step 4, okay? So this is done till here, step 3, okay, we added all these things and stuff like that. And then we added this one for the display was step 4. And then this was step 4, okay? Now till here, okay, then the 5th step will be something, okay? So it's okay for the 5th step, step 5. What is that we are going to do, okay? So we need to create now, let's create what? The number pad, right? Let's create the calculator, the number pad, something like that. Number pad for our calculator, for the calculator, okay? So this number pad, now please listen, let's make it meaningful, okay? So we want this to be called number pad only, okay? And it doesn't matter, you can call it anything, but don't use number, okay? So you might get confused. See, numbers is already there, right? So we call number pad, fine. So here, and I wanted, if you look at the behavior of these numbers, you see that the number is in this way, 789 456 123, right, and 0. So let's take a help also from the original calculator also. It is same thing. So the original calculator is same. It is what? 789 456 123, and they kept 0 at the center. So for now, 789 like that. So we have to assign that as a string to our number, okay? So we say 789 456 sorry, 789 456 what? 123, okay? 123. So what does this do now? So this is just like maybe a reference to the pad that will hold that. Now we now need to put this into the grid, okay? So initially we create a variable that will start to go from 0 to what? Less than to 9, okay, less than 9, okay? And we're going to use for loop to populate that. So and then we create a reference to the button which we have to kind of populate, okay? And then it is an array of buttons, okay? So this is an empty array, an empty what? List, okay? An empty list. So this list now is like an empty list. What we have to do, we have to like position this, right, in a particular location in the button, okay? So when we use the reference to the button now, we're going to call it here. So what we do, we can now use a for loop, okay? So remember, in the first case, I want to take this 3, right? Fine. And then I'll take this last, the other one, and then fine, Control C. Now come back here, Control V, and paste it. So if you notice here, like kind of, I indented it here. Look here. Okay, this is still fine till here. Okay, so just add all the buttons and make this kind of to be some stuff, and that's it. Okay, now just run this and see if it's going to appear. Control Shift F10. Now you see the buttons have appeared. Okay, so if you notice here, this was actually better than, so, and it has that effect, and all the behaviors are there. This was better and shorter than when we actually did this, right? Remember? Okay, so for this again, we went and then we passed all the commands. Did you see lambda, button click, and stuff like that? Okay, so fine. So this is it for now. So if you don't like the color, you can play with them later. Okay, but for now I think, okay, fine, I should just leave it like this. Okay, so later we can modify it. Fine. All right, so after this is done, what do we need now? Okay, so we need to now do what now? Remember, okay, we use this lambda stuff, okay, like to add all the stuff, lambda expressions, whenever I click on a button. So this is done, okay? So after this step, what do we do? Step 6 is done, I think. Step 5 was what we did, okay? So the next step, call it the next step only. What are we going to do? Now, we have placed all the buttons, right? Fine. But if you look here, let's go back to the buttons. Let's go back to these buttons. So, we have not placed, what do you call it, 0 button. We have not placed all the clear button and things like that. Yes? Fine. So I will do something here now. I need to kind of arrange this in positions where I'll be able to have the clear button, right? Okay, I need to have the clear button. I need to have other buttons as well. Okay, so what I will do, subtract button addition. So if you look here guys, so this till here is done, till here is done. Okay, so but if you watch, compare them, put them side by side, you see I need this clear button. Okay, that is it to clear one thing at a time, right? Sorry, I mean the current whatever. But if I say CE, clears the entire thing. So you might think, okay, what's the difference now between this and that, right? So you see, in most cases, we go back to this other big calculator, okay? So this calculator says, you see here, we have C and then we have CE. Actually, this is kind of a replication. This C is actually doing the same thing. I don't know why I repeated it twice. So, but anyway, that is fine, okay? So this is the same thing, right? You add some stuff, it will clear it. Oh, sorry. Now look here, CE has appeared, okay? So these two toggles, this behavior is there. Initially, if there's no operation, I can just say, okay, fine, the clear will be there by default. So if I perform operations, it says like clear expression, okay? So let's call it clear and clear expression, okay? Without any operation, this is clear. So with an operation, let's say times 6, I need to clear with this, okay? So anyway, that is it. But this behavior I couldn't get that. See here, CE, okay? I couldn't get that. All right, so for now it's fine. So we need to add the necessary ones. So this has been added, but why this guy? Because of the position, right? It's close to all the operators, the dots, plus and minus, then equal sign, all these ones, right? And after that is done, in the scientific mode, other guys will appear. You see here. So if you count now, you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, around 30 of them, okay? So because of that, it's lengthy, so we have to copy and paste all of them. So get back here, okay? And start from here now, okay? So button clear, fine. Button clear all, okay? And all whatnot, okay? So fine, take this, and then take this, and then take that button, add button, subtract button, div button, whatever that equal button. So and that, okay? So now after this is done, let me just stop till here before I go into the row button, okay? So till here is, you add this and then you see the exact location here. So I'll just say Ctrl Shift F10 now. So you see standard calculator is over. So how many did we add? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Standard calculator is over. So we need to create one now. So till here we can actually stop and say, fine, we have finished our standard calculator with some addition. So let's see if they're going to do what we want it to do, right? We say this, it's working. We say that, it's working. We say this, 0.6 times 2, okay? This works, fine. Sorry, I should have done equal to 62 into 3. Oh, sorry. Okay. Clear all. 89 into 2. Oh, so you watch now. So once I press this, okay, it's still not working completely, right? Because I have not finally implemented all the methods, okay? So say like this, okay, this C click equal to, so it gets back to 0, 26 plus 5. 25 plus 5 should give me 30. This works. But if I say 62 into 2, okay, this works also, 124. Okay, so let's say square root of 9, that is that. So no problem. So this is fine, okay? Now, but there is something we needed, right? We needed a menu. So let's compare them side by side. So you see here, this is a menu, okay? So here we have this, and then we have this. So this menu is actionable. So if I go back to standard, I will see this, okay? So this is it, and this is this. Fine. Now, this is standard, and then this is the other one, okay? So fine, this is there, that is there, no problem. So looking at all this now, we needed this one, right? So we need to add the menu later, okay? So for that, this is scientific, something pops up. So how many grid, how many these are there? How many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 columns. And this widget, right? Okay, this display text now, we have to make it span for okay, column span 4, and then this one we have to say what this is row 0 column 0. Remember here scientific calculator is row 0 column 0, so this becomes row 1 column 1, row 1 column 2, row 1 column 3, row 1 column 4, so row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. So we will not waste your time. So, and look here, whenever I click on exit, it says do you want to exit? Fine. So that's the reason why I imported this message dialog box, but we have not used it. Go back to the beginning, you see this, okay, message box. Fine. Now we come back here, okay, and we say after this is done, now let's go and now create our scientific calculator. So end of standard calculator, fine, okay, end of this guy standard, okay. So let's now extend it. Now time to extend. So to extend this now, okay, we really need to add other words or buttons, right? Fine. So for here, for now, we need, how many rows are there? 5 rows are there. So I'll copy paste, okay? So let's get back here, I'll explain it from here. So the first row, right? So if you see there, pi was at that location, okay? And some button. Then the next one is cost, right? So this is for row 1, okay? How do you know is row 1? Row 1, okay? Which column now? Column 1, you cannot say it's column 1 because if you look here, in this case, this is row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2. But once you dock this guy out, here, Control Shift F10. So once this comes up, right? Once this comes up, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So you go to 5, right? Fine. 6, 7, 8, like that. So this will be same row 1, column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fine. So that's what, again, this continues. So, but for now, we were placing it there without bringing it up to the console. So we go and place it without bringing it out. So let it be. So because of that, I will start copying from here. So this is for the first row. Fine. The end of that same first row, we are still there. Okay. Column, follow the column. Okay. So column 5, column 6, column 7. Okay. So okay, we started from 0. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then 4, 5, 6, 7. Fine. So this is done. So if you copy this now and paste there, you will not see anything here. Okay. So this is row 1. Row 1. Now paste this guy. Now, even if you run it, you will not see anything. Okay. Obviously, because we have come till here. Okay. And we don't want it to be there looking at us. We have kept it. We have not even done anything with it. You know for sure it's not going to be there until we implement the method. Okay, later. So fine. The same thing, end of row 1, so we get to row 2. So I'll go to copy row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, okay, like that. So row 2 copied, row 3 started, copied, end of row 3, row 4 started, end of row 4, row 5 started, end of row 5, okay. So, and we are done, okay, till here. We are done till here, fine. So you copy this now, okay, and then you come back here and paste it, okay. So you see entire thing is there. Don't worry, the code will be available, don't worry. So till here is fine, okay. So we have seen all this, whatever you want to position at that location. Again, even if you don't need it, you're not going to see anything there. Control Shift F10, nothing will be there for sure, fine. Now we needed to do something now. Actually, what is that we want to do? We want now to say, okay, fine, we want it to have a menu, okay guys. So we want it to have a menu, okay. So end of 5th row. Now we need to now say, okay, fine, this is done. Let's create time to create the menu bar. Time to create the menu bar, right? Time for the menu bar. Now, so this menu bar, we are going to use something now, okay? So we can kind of do some stuff here. Whenever we remember something was giving us that alert message, right? So we call it create a function to exit, okay? So we call it I exit, okay, because exit is already there, remember guys. So in this, when you click on that to exit, then you want it actually to do some stuff, okay? I exit. Now what do I want this guy to do? Now here I'm going to use this object. Now you see here tkinter dots. Now see, I needed something, okay? So inside message box, remember I need to say, do you want to exit? So this is what I want to implement now. So when I click on this guy, it says, do you want to exit, right? Fine. And this comes up when I have shifted from here to there, the scientific calculator, yes or no, fine. So here, there's something we call ask dot what. See, there's so many of the methods also that are there. You say ask what now? Is it ask okay cancel or ask yes or no? You got the point? So okay cancel says okay, you exit, or cancel, you quit. Ask question, retry cancel, yes or no. So what I needed was yes or no. Okay, so yes or no, I need to pass that inside. Okay, so under which now it gives me the heading. It's called scientific calculator. Guys, stay, hang on for some time, I'm almost done. Okay, scientific calculator, right? So here I need to ask yes or no question, right? So I will now say, what do you want to exit? Do you want to exit? Fine. So here, once I do this, I don't need to say any other thing. Okay, what I will only do is it will give me yes or no by default. So now you use this to handle it. Okay, say if the answer in this is what, greater than 0. Okay, so I will say destroy this method. Okay, so that means come out of that. Okay, dot destroy. Okay, so you can now check this actually what it does. Okay, and then return this back to the calling function. Fine. Now this is done. So for that I need to define the methods, right? Because I'm beginning to place this now for what? Scientific and standard. Okay, and finally let me just place this for now. Let's place this. I will say menu bar. I want to use this. Menu bar will be equal to, okay, menu is already in there. Okay, and remember, instead of going to the root, now we have created this reference as calc. Okay, sorry, 0. Now let's look at this. Okay, so we say, what does it do? How many methods are inbuilt methods are actually in this? Okay, so we say menu. Okay, and what tkinter. Fine. So let's see. So you see, this is used to create a menu bar, right? So let's look at this tutorials.net. Fine, or even tutorials point also, any of them. Fine, if you come here, okay, so you see here, you learn how to create this. Fine, we created that and we put the title and things like that. So you say add button, you can actually use this, okay? But look here, by default, we started creating this, right? We are using that to say the add command, okay, exit, and then file and things like that. Fine, do the main dupe. So you get this. So if you go back here, we imported menu, okay, from tkinter import menu, but menu is already imported when we say from tkinter import what? Star, right? And then the title was what? Menu demo, and there we added all this stuff, okay, that add command and things like that. But that's not what I needed. I needed this other argument that goes into it. So master, then options, and then these options, look here, tier whatever, right, is what I needed. Select, tier off. Okay, please look here. So these are the options I needed. So here, agree, you have to agree. So these are all the other parameters that go into it. Master represent the parent window. Options are list of all the options that you can use with the widget. Active background and stuff. Background color we can put, border, cursor, fonts, everything. But what interests me was this. So a normal a menu can be turned off, okay, at the first position 0, okay, in the list of choices that is occupied, and this tier of element. And additional choices can be also added. Now, if this tier is set to 0, the menu will not have a tier off feature, and the choice will be added starting from position 0. You got the point? So that is why we needed this, okay. And you can see this add command also. Some of the methods that are inside the add checkbox, add everything, and add like that, delete also. Everything is there, invoke and stuff. And you see a couple of examples. Okay, so this is why we needed that tier off, okay. And then we have to use this add cascade and add command. We have seen those methods, right, that are inbuilt in that. So we say now menu bar dot add, okay, add, what are we adding? So we add cascade. So it's there, okay, you have seen what it is. So label, we have to, it takes this argument. So now I'll copy paste, okay. Label equals what? File, okay, that's what we're going to see there, okay, file. And then after here, what we say, okay, fine, our menu is going to be what? File menu, fine. Okay, file menu, okay, no problem. Now it is okay, fine, this is not created. So now look here. Then you go to standard and you go to other stuff. So all this I'm going to explain is already implemented here. So I'll explain it from here itself. So this is done. And before we implement this, so look at the menu bar. Okay, so we added all this. So we have file, standard, and scientific, right? So we add the separator. So finally, if I click on exit, it should exit, and then call this method iExit, which we try implementing here first. Okay, fine. Next is your what? Your edit menu, right? So edit, you have in the that edit, cut, copy. In edit menu, you have cut, copy, and paste. Fine. Then after that, and that's it. Okay, so we place it in that. And then the last thing was what we now have to define, though. You have to now define the options, right? So we wanted scientific option to appear, and we want also standard option to appear, right? Then that's it. Okay, so standard and scientific. So what I will do now, I will copy from here, okay, and then till there, and we should be done with this. Okay, so Control C, fine, get back here. Okay, so here now I'm going to replace it here. Okay, so this is done. Okay, and lastly, we kept this we kept the window open until we are done. So let's see whether we are close to it. Remember, till here, this is what we've done. Okay, we don't have that menu here, and this is what we have here. We have that. Okay, so finally, if I press Ctrl Shift F10, so yeah, it should come. Okay, let me close this. This is where we are working on. Okay, so Ctrl Shift F10. Okay, where is it? Yeah, it's there. Okay, so this is it. Oh, sorry, the color was a different color, right, guys? I hope there's no error. Let's check. Okay, standard is not defined. Okay, yeah, okay, label is called standard, is not defined. Yes, I did not implement that standard option. 1 minute, guys. So yes, because I stopped at this, you remember, guys? So I stopped at this guy, right? So I did not implement standard and what? Scientific. So go back here, and obviously you go there and take the what? Method standard and scientific. Control C, get back here. So till here is fine. Okay, so you paste this here. So this should be done by now. Okay, fine. Ctrl Shift F10, and there we go. Okay, so we keep it here, and this is what we have. And then let's see this. So you see the option, and let's keep this guy also there. Ctrl Shift F10, and this is what we have here, and this is what you have there. Sorry. Okay, so there and this guy. So both of them, if I go back to this now, I will say, okay, file, I go to scientific, it has appeared. Okay, but you see the problem, because we changed the background. Guys, can you understand? So this is not appearing. You see, it was actually called, see here, when I click on this, scientific, okay, this was actually black on white, but we have changed it to this stuff. That's why we are not able to see that. Okay, so this is very easy. You can actually modify that. Okay, so yeah, on this note, we have successfully replicated the same project. Okay, and then this is what we'll have, and then you can actually perform some operations, and maybe like if you say cost of 69, you're going to get some value. This, okay, whatever, and turn on whatever, and everything is there. Okay, so let's just recap what we did today, and then we wind up. Okay, so do you have any questions, guys? Actually, see, if you want to code up everything from scratch, obviously it's going to take at least 3 or 4 days for you to position everything and get the whole thing, okay, in the required location. So, but what is the new thing that we've seen? Okay, we saw actually how to position this, right? Okay, they say we call it the programmatic approach instead of doing the naive approach, which we did here in the basic calculator. And on this note, we can say for sure we have been able to extend this our basic calculator, and we built something like this, okay, such that we know for sure, like, okay, we have tried so much in less time. This is done, and this is it. Okay, so finally you know what to do, right? How to convert this now into what? An executable file. All right, so you just do that, and that's it. Okay, so yes, on this note, I want to thank you guys for tuning in again, and tomorrow we might look into our, what's it called, our form, right? So form, yesterday we created the form and we kind of connected it to an Excel sheet. So tomorrow we try to connect it to a database, and maybe like try to do form validation tomorrow. Okay, yes, and then I think on that note we should be done with most of the challenge which we have actually set out to do, and then we start looking into Python for web development. Okay, so yeah, any questions, any observations, guys? We wind up. Okay, moderators. Yep. Thank you, the team. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And yep, moderators, just give them the attendance. I will stop streaming. Take care, guys. Bye for now.